Right off the bat here, guys, I'm just going to warn you, I don't know what I'm going to say in this video. I don't know how long this video is going to be, and I don't know what this video is going to be, but I know what it's going to be centered around. It's going to be centered around Kevin Cheveldayoff. It's got to be over, guys. It has to be the end of Kevin Cheveldayoff. Will it be? Probably not. Best friends with Mark Chipman, 11, 12 years with this franchise. Hasn't done anything. What have the Jets done since relocating? Pretty much nothing. They had, 2 good years, maybe. One, if you want to call it, a bad year in 2019 when they fell off on the second half of the year, lost in the first round against the Blues and didn't do anything. Yeah. This team is clinging to that 2018 year where hey, that team was crazy. Let's be honest. That was a really good team. That team probably could have won a Stanley Cup, but they didn't. They lost in 5 games to the Vegas Golden Knights in the Western Conference Finals. They didn't even get to the Cup final. But, that was 5 years ago now, guys. That was 5 seasons ago when the Jets had, a young Patrick Laine who was scoring 40 goals a year, had Mark Scheifele at the absolute peak of his game, Blake Wheeler at the peak of his game, Dustin Byfuglien still an incredible big force in the NHL, and countless other guys. Like, you could go on and on and on. But that was 5 years ago, and we still talk about that season like it happened yesterday. Season was fun, and I love it, and there's nothing wrong with looking back at that season and reminiscing, but that was 5 years ago. That ship has sailed. This core isn't it anymore, guys. This is it. This team is toast. The way that they performed against the Edmonton Oilers, it was embarrassing, and it showed in the game. You can blame it on injuries all you want. Yeah, Pierre-Luc Dubois not playing, Mason Appleton not playing, and, the big pickup at the trade deadline, Vlad Nemestikov isn't in yet because of visa problems, right? Obviously, he's, might play on Saturday night. Who knows? I doubt it. But, watching that game, it just made me think. I'm like, wow. The players look very unenthused to be out there, and that can be attributed to maybe what Cheveldayoff didn't do at the trade deadline. That can be attributed to the way the team's been playing lately. There's an obvious lack of confidence and fight. This team is mentally fragile, to be completely honest with you. Anytime they face any kind of issues in their season, they don't do anything. It's and you can tell this team has the same amount of fight as the last year's team, and we all know how last year went. It was hard to watch, emotionless watching these games. You just sit there and you go, well, let's see if somebody has a big night tonight, because if they don't, then the Jets aren't winning. If Scheifele doesn't have a big game, Jets aren't winning. If Connor Hellebuck doesn't have a big game, Jets aren't winning. And it just feels like last season again. Last season, the Jets started out strong. They had Brendan Dillon, Nate Schmidt, added to the team, and it felt like, hey, this Jets team is for real. Let's get going. They were like 9-3-3 or something through the first 15, and then they nosedived straight down into the ground, and the Jets did not make the playoffs. Traded Andrew Kopp, was a pretty good trade, to be fair. But then they go out and they trade for Zach Sanford. Like, what are we doing here? 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're never really committing to a direction. You're never, trying to retool or rebuild, and you're never really fully going for it. And what happened this year? Pretty much the same thing. Jets had a first really good 40 games. Their last, 20 or so, they haven't been good. And what have they done in their last 18 games? They've won 6 games out of their last 18. That is not good enough. And everybody is pretty much healthy, or pretty much was healthy for the majority of those games. Perfetti was healthy up until recently, Pierre-Luc Dubois as well, and Mason Appleton was even back too. Now, what did Mason Appleton do in that stretch? Absolutely nothing. Mason Appleton is not a very good player, but don't worry, we have him for 2 more seasons at around, I think it's like $2.3 million that Chevy signed that deal to. Don't know why. Don't know why we even traded for him again. There's a gazillion Mason Appletons in the league. We could have signed one for about $900K, and we wanted our Mason Appleton that we lost in the expansion draft, and we retraded for him. Unbelievable. We talk about the Jets not wanting to give up picks and stuff like that. Why the hell did we give up a pick for Appleton when there's about a gazillion other players that can go do it? Appleton's not even a third liner. He's garbage. He has 2 goals this year. One is on the power play and one is on an open net. And then I think he has 7 assists. And yes, he has been injured for the majority of the beginning of the season when this team was doing well. Well, he comes back now and he plays like hot shit. He's terrible. So there's my little mini rant on Mason Appleton. No fault of his own. He just gets paid too much and he's elevated in a spot where he's not going to succeed. Okay, where am I here? I don't even know. Pretty much what I'm saying is the Jets have, really looked back at that 2018 year as the blueprint. And they're like, oh, you know what? We can keep running it back. 2019, you had a big year. You brought in Kevin Hayes and it just didn't work out. You just had a bad year. Paul Maurice was there. And we all know how Paul Maurice's tenure went in Winnipeg. It wasn't very good. Was he a big reason for the 2018 team that went to the Western Conference Finals? No, I don't think he was. That team was so stacked, I think he could put a toddler behind the bench and it would still be okay. But anyway, how many times are we going to run this back? This core isn't good enough, and if you're not going to add to the core, then you're probably not going far in the playoffs, Chevy. Hellebuyck's not going to carry you all the way to the end. He can't. He is so damn good, and he will take you as far as you will let him, but he cannot do it on his own. He cannot do it on his own. He gets no help at all every single night, and it's been the same way for 3 years. He gets no help. He has masked so much problems on this team in the last 3 to 4 years. We are so lucky to have Connor Hellebuyck. And when he has, poor games like he has in the last couple, and you know what? If those are his poor games, then you know what? So be it. But if he has those poor games, he's allowed to have a couple. My God, has this guy saved our ass. In 2019, 2020, he's the only reason we got through Edmonton. The Jets came through and everything like that, but don't act like Edmonton didn't play very well in those games. The Jets stole a lot of those games. That bubble year was weird, whatever. Last year, the Jets, probably a bottom 10 team without Connor Hellebuyck. I don't know how he did that last year, but you know what? Again, blessed to have Connor Hellebuyck. We were close to making the playoffs on a pretty incompetent team just because of how well that he was playing. Him and Kyle Connor were really the only bright spots last season. Now, fast forward to this season, what do we have? We have a really good group that's playing above their heads, and then as soon as, any adversity kicked in, it was over. The last, since we flipped the calendar to 2023, this team has been absolutely dreadful, and I don't know what else to say. I'm not even trying to be, super doom and gloom, but I'm just saying how it is here, guys. This is not good. And with 20 games left in the season, 5 points above the Calgary Flames. If Calgary goes on a heater, which they definitely could, they added some, some depth pieces, but some pieces nonetheless. If Calgary goes on a bit of a run and their goaltending gets hot, they're going to pass the Jets. What do the Jets have right now? They have a bunch of fragile players. They have a GM that seemingly doesn't care about, giving this core a shot. They just don't want to do it. This organization just doesn't want to win. They want to be sitting in the middle and not doing a thing. The Jets today ended the trade deadline, I think, with something around $3 million in cap space after trading for Vlad Namestnikov. And I tweeted on Twitter, I saw everybody freaking out about Vlad Namestnikov and, if this is the Jets move, this is terrible. I was convinced the Jets were going to do something else because I really thought that Chevy wanted to make a splash. I thought that he wanted to come in there and really bolster this squad and give that core, Connor Hellebuyck, who has saved our asses for years, a shot. Give Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler a nod for all the work that they've put into the organization since, whenever they came in. And what did he do? He gave us Vlad Namestnikov. And I know that Nino Niederreiter came in here. He's been a fine pickup. I really like Nino. But him and Nemestikov are not enough to push this team forward. You needed to add big, and you didn't. And that bullshit that he spewed in his press conference blew my mind. He was quoted saying, if you look at all the different components as to why you think you should be able to compete for a Stanley Cup, I think they've got it. And then you clip over to the Oilers game, and you don't have that. Yes, they weren't playing with a full lineup, but hey, you're not going to be playing with a full lineup in the playoffs all the time. There are going to be guys that get injured, and that's just the reality of the situation. I didn't like that comment from him at all. I don't know what I know what is it. What else is he going to say? He's not going to sit up there and say, yeah, I didn't do enough to bolster this team. I know he's not, but it was so condescending in the way that he said it. And then he goes on to say, oh, there was a lot of misinformation on social media. And I think that the fans, kind of get wrapped up into, some trades and stuff that they would like to see. And yes, us as fans, we do. I run a Jets YouTube channel where my job is to make content. So if I see that the Jets are tied to Timo Meier or Jacob Chikrin, I'm going to talk about it. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But you know what? Maybe if we had another GM that gave a shit about the team and their success, maybe, just maybe, we would have, a player like that, or trading for a player like that. And now he's going to sit up here and say that the fans, get caught up in stuff and that this isn't fantasy hockey. Man, fuck you. That is unbelievable. That you sit up there after you do a bum-ass, half-ass job and you sit there and say, nah, you know what? It's the fans' fault for getting their hopes up. Of course we're going to have our hopes up. What have you done since coming here 12, 13 years ago, Chevy? You have done absolutely nothing for this team. Your two big trades have been Kevin Hayes and Paul Stastny, and I've stuck my neck out for Chevy countless times in the past, saying that, look, those moves were good. Even though they weren't the flashiest moves, those were moves that helped the team go forward, especially Paul Stastny. Of course, he was so damn good here. But now, this was your shot. You needed to make a move here, and you didn't. I just can't believe it. And yes, talk about whatever. The Jets don't have the draft capital to make those moves. Okay, now why don't they have the draft capital to make those moves? Well, Chevy traded 2 second-round picks for Brendan Dillon, who has played fine this year. Is he worth 2 second-round picks? No. He traded for Nate Schmidt for a third. What has Nate Schmidt really done for this team? He hasn't lived up to what, he was in Vegas, what he was in Washington. He's over 30 years old. He's peaked. He's past his peak now. Nate Schmidt is fine, but he's a very expensive, fine player. It's unbelievable with him. I don't get it. And this press conference really did it for me. I have really, stuck my neck out for Chevy. I know he doesn't have the easiest job in the NHL, but there are ways around it. There are, you know what? You can talk about no trade clauses and no move clauses all you want, but at the end of the day, a lot of players in the NHL don't have no move or no trade clauses. The majority of the players in the NHL don't. So don't give that bullshit excuse. And if you're not going to trade picks for players, go trade some prospects. Go all in. Give it a real last hurrah with this core, and then whatever you don't get, say the Jets go on and they get bounced in the second round. Okay, fine. As a fan, I would be a lot less pissed off right now if the Jets were playing poor, but Chevy went in and he got pieces. He can't control how the players play on the ice, and if they don't play well enough, well, that's on the players, and then you can do whatever the hell you want in the offseason. You can trade them, you can recoup your assets, I don't care. But as a fan, I'd feel a lot better knowing that my organization, that my general manager went out there and did his thing. He tried to come in and make the best out of the situation and try to give that core, Connor Hellebuck, Kyle Connor, all these players, Josh Morrissey, who's having a great year. I don't think I mentioned him yet. All of those guys, a real shot at winning a Stanley Cup. And what did we do today? We traded for Vlad Nemestikov. Vlad Nemestikov is not going to bring a cup home to Winnipeg. Nino Niederreiter, as much as I like him, he's just not enough. With this core, it's not going to happen. Blake Wheeler is old as hell. He's just not the player he used to be, and it might be time to hang up the skates for Blake. For other players, Connor Hellebuck and Mark Scheifele, I don't think they're going to want to come back. You saw the shitty effort that Chevy gave at the deadline today. You could tell Scheifele and Hellebuck have been pissed off. It showed on the game. You could see they're very clearly pissed off. They're mad because they're not winning, and I'm sure they're mad because, their GM didn't do anything to help out this team. Adam Lowry had an interview, looked like he was going to cry. It's just the state of the team right now, and as much as I want to sit here and say, the Jets are going to get back on the saddle, they're going to find their ways, and they're going to win again, there's really nothing to say that that's happening. I don't see it happening. I don't think that the Jets are going to be much more than a first-round exit, even if they make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, I'll be moderately shocked at this point. All Calgary needs to do is go on a little bit of a run, and they've done it. And I just can't believe we're sitting here. A month ago, if you told me I was going to be sitting here making this video talking about Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck maybe leaving in the offseason, maybe being traded, then, hey, man, I don't know. I just can't believe it. This team is unbelievable, and I don't know what went wrong with this team. Is Rick Bowness the problem? I don't know. Doesn't seem like he has the room right now. Is Pierre-Luc Dubois the problem? I don't know. I'm sure guys are a little annoyed at him. But hey, if I'm Pierre-Luc Dubois, I don't want to play for this team. What did Chevy do today that made Pierre-Luc Dubois want to stay in Winnipeg? We know he wants to go play in Montreal, and everybody has an opinion about that. I definitely have mine. But hey, if he wants to go play in Montreal, that's fine. We'll move you in the offseason. But losing a player like that, a player that we traded Patrick Laine, the second overall pick for, hey, what's that going to turn into? A first-round pick and Christian Dvorak and, maybe some B-level prospect in the offseason? And that's, thinking nice. Then, hey, that sucks. That's what the Laine situation turned into. Christian Dvorak and a late first-round pick. Sweet. Awesome. I love it. Frustrating year, guys. And I know we still got 20 more games to go, but that press conference that Chevy did today really upset me, and I had to get it off my chest. And, you can type away in the comments. You can say, I'll quit whining, quit doing whatever. I don't care, dude. I don't care. If you want to go to Jet games and support this team, go for it. I will be heading to some Jet games, but I did not pay for the tickets. Those were free tickets given to me. So if you ever see me make a video or anything like that, just know I'm not giving this organization money to sit there and put a shitty product on the ice and don't care about winning. When the Jets care about winning, maybe I'll think about it. Maybe if they pick a direction, I'll think about it. But as of right now, I don't know where the Jets sit. I don't know what they're thinking. But if they head into next year and they say, let's run it back again with this core and things are, still going the way they are currently, then I don't know. This organization is hopeless. And unless, God himself comes down from the heavens and says, Kevin, you're stepping away. Mark Chipman, you're stepping away. Then I don't know what this team's going to do. I don't know. Obviously, I'm frustrated, and I know a lot of fans are too. I haven't seen anybody really defending Kevin, and if they have, God, the argument's been weak, but we sit here today. The Jets are in the final wild card spot in the playoffs, and hey, anything can happen. Maybe they go on a hot streak. Maybe they win their next 20 games. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I just don't see it. The thing that I fear is the only thing that can really get this Jets team to change is if they don't make the playoffs. And I hate sitting here, thinking, if my team loses, maybe we'll get some real change. Maybe they'll start a rebuild. Maybe they'll do a retool. Maybe they'll change something. Maybe they'll do something meaningful. And the only way that I can see that is if they fall out of this playoff race, don't make the playoffs. And that sucks as a fan because I wanted to see this team go far. If you've watched my videos, I'm very critical of this team at times, but at the same time, I really want to see this team win. I want to see this Jets team go on a big run, and I thought we were going to get a big run this year. I thought we were going to go big. I thought we were going to spend, give up first-round picks, give up prospects. Let's go win, baby. Let's go far. The West is wide open. The West isn't that great. And then if you can beat one of those Eastern teams in the final, hey, you're a Stanley Cup champion. Congratulations. It would be fantastic times here in Winnipeg. But the team has imploded. The GM doesn't care. Mark Chipman is an overbearing owner that needs to step away. He needs to hire somebody as president of hockey operations. He needs to get off that chair because that is dragging this team, and a big reason why this team struggles to succeed consistently. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Sorry if this video is, kind of jarring, kind of scary, but this is the way I see things going here, and it's very frustrating. I love this Jets team, and I'm obviously not gonna, jump off the bandwagon here or anything, be a Jets fan for life. But this does bother me, the way that Kevin Cheveldayoff handled his presser today, and the way that he, navigated his situation today, and kind of just blamed the fans for getting their hopes up and for wanting to win games. Hey, Chevy, it's clear that you don't care. It's clear you don't believe in the core, and if you don't, that's fine. But maybe we should have started selling then. Maybe we should have picked a direction, and instead of blaming the fans that, are increasingly less coming to your hockey games, and blaming them for, your lack of care and your lack of aggression in free agency in the summer, in the trade deadline today, I don't know. Just doesn't sit well with me. I hope that, I'm wrong. Maybe Vlad Nemestikov comes in and this team is unbelievable. Maybe we get Pierre-Luc Dubois back and we go on a run. But I don't know. I don't know, guys. Last thing that I want to say is the defense. Logan Stanley requests a trade. And what happens with Logan Stanley? We don't trade him. Okay, fine. If you want to just waive him, not tender his RFA in the summer, that's fine. I don't think that he's going to fetch a massive return, but, there is the possibility of that because NHL GMs are stupid. We see that with Kevin Cheveldayoff, right? NHL GMs at times make weird moves because players are big and tall. Chad Greenway got a 2nd and a 5th round pick from Minnesota. How the hell they did that, I couldn't tell you. Chad Greenway has not had a very good year and isn't a very good player, in my opinion. But credit to Minnesota. Good for them. But in what world does a player come out and say, hey, I want to trade when he's a depth player? He's a 6 or 7 defenseman at best. Career height, 6th or 7th defenseman. And what do? You say, hey, Logan, you're playing ahead of Dylan Samberg, who has played very well this season. Are there times where Samberg has looked maybe out of place or a little bit off and, just not good at times? Absolutely. He's a rookie. And Samberg isn't going to be a perfect defenseman, but he has been very good this year. And you guys can't deny that. Samberg has been a very good defenseman. In my mind, he took that 6D spot, that was up for grabs with Ville. As much as I love Ville, he just didn't do enough. He had a couple good games, but, the team just wouldn't give him that run. And I think with a run, Ville Heinola would be a very good player. Maybe he gets that next season if the Jets sell off some of the defensemen. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't know what this team's going to do, but I feel like they're going to do something dumb in the offseason and just, not get that opportunity. But in what world does Logan Stanley get to play? What did Stanley do in the game against the Kings? He cross-checked a guy in the face, got a penalty, probably should have been 5 minutes. Don't know how it wasn't. He dodged a big bullet there. And then in today's game, end of the game, goes and boards a guy late. Just dumb penalties. He's just a dumb, big player. He doesn't do anything. He's tall. He plays defense, but he doesn't play defense. So I just hate this team. At times I just can't stand this team. Logan Stanley, I don't know how he's still here. It was weird when we traded up for him. It was weird when he played above Ville. It was weird when he played above Samberg, and it was weird today when he didn't get traded. And I don't get it. I don't know. This sucks, man. I hate making this video. I hate making these videos, but I have to get it off my chest. This is like therapy, man. I just don't know what else to say at this point. This Jets team has been incredibly disappointing from the top down, and it's very uninspiring watching this team. It's very uninspiring, watching the moves that this team makes, and it's even more uninspiring and frustrating when the GM of the team blames the fans basically for wanting to have more done and have their team be successful. But yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. I've talked long enough here. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, big props to you. I don't know when the next time I'll see you is. It won't be long. But I might step away from the Jets for the weekend and just, not think about them for now. Because I don't really want to think about the Jets right now. I got up at 6:30 hoping that the Jets would be, making a big move. And, shame on me for having faith in Chevy. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.